No, but what is right then? Please tell me before I begin to answer. When I suggested a word that meant something, you said, no, I didn't mean that.
No, this is my mistake then.
No, why you say mistake? When you said this, that is not what you meant.
That I wrote.
You knew what you didn't mean.
I may be wrong in writing that.
No, you may be right or may be wrong. That's not the question. The point is, when I suggested if you wanted to find out the ways by which we could distinguish between tradition and the spoken word, the tradition and the practice of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You said this is not what you meant.
That I meant. That I wanted to know, Hazur.
Is that what you wanted to know?
Yes.
Please sit down then. Hazrat Masih Maud ﷺ has spoken on this subject, written on this subject amply, and you might have read it in some of his books, I'm sure. The fact is that tradition is that practice of Hazrat Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam which has handed down to us through generations, not as a spoken word, but as a practice. Now this differs, number one, with itself, as understood and practiced elsewhere by other sects in other regions. And also sometimes it differs with the spoken word, and the spoken word sometimes disagrees with certain practices, and the spoken word also differs in itself at various places and among various sects. So in all internal relationship of these things, one has to understand what the reality is, or try to comprehend the nature of these differences and to reach the truth. Now, the distinction I have already told you between tradition and the practice is that practice is handed down as an unspoken word and shall merely practice, and the hadith or tradition is the spoken word. So I think your question is answered here, because this is what you wanted to find out. But because this is an interesting question and it can be enlarged to at least give you some more essential knowledge about tradition and the practice and their differences, I want to opt for some more information, which was not contained in the question, which was not meant in the question. Tradition, as handed down to us, differs from sect to sect in some places. For instance, Shiites' way of saying prayer is different, partly, from the rest of the Sunni sects. And among the Sunni sects, the Wahhabi way, Ahl Hadith way, is different from the non-Ahl Hadith people. And so is the Maliki way different in some respects. In some respects, the Maliki practice agrees with the Shiites. In others, it disagrees with the Shiites and agrees with the Sunnites, and so on and so forth. So these differences are already known to all the Muslim scholars, yet they all agree that Sunnah is the most dependable, that is the practice, most dependable way of finding out how Hazrat Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam lived, because here there was no question of somebody reporting and others misunderstanding, or him misreporting and conveying the wrong thing. It was just a practice handed down. Now the question is, if it is dependable, if it is just a practice as people saw him doing, they started doing, then why these differences? Now the reason for these differences, in fact there is not one reason, but there are so many reasons where differences have erupted. Number one, when you, for instance, you are new to Ahmadiyyat, and apply this to yourself and begin to visualize a possible situation which might have occurred 1400 years ago. If you happen to be new in Ahmadiyyat and you join a prayer during Jalsa Salana, and you don't see the Imam as what he is doing, and you happen to be sitting next to an ill person, an indisposed person, one, for instance, with a displaced disc, and he's sitting on a chair. Now, what would be the impression that he would carry back if he had just one prayer to say behind the Imam there, and then was to depart for his place where he came from? He would start saying prayers sitting on the chair, and he would swear before everybody, this is the practice. I have said that prayer behind the Imam, the central Imam. And I saw a row of chairs, and people were sitting, and I recognized some people among them. Yes? So that thing happens. At another place, somebody comes and he has access to the closeness of Imam. Yet, the Imam is ill-disposed on that day, and he cannot perform certain actions as they should normally be performed. If he sees that salat and goes back, he would carry the same impressions. And he would start practicing the prayer, not as spoken word conveying to others, but practicing himself and conveying a practice which is not the normal practice, but it would be considered a normal practice by his people and the followers. Similarly, if a person comes while that particular Imam is young, and he performs his prayers in a special, like every able-bodied person does, his impression would be different. But if he comes when he is of old age, and it's impossible for him to act as, as to move as lightly and perform all the parts of the prayer as they should be performed, then some defects would be left. Not defects, but somewhere the normal practice would differ from the previous practice. Now, all these things have been happening in the early Islamic days. And many a scholar have pinpointed where the differences came from, how they got into practice. Now, for instance, it is a popularly known incident of differences of practice between Hanafis and Shafi'is. The Shafi'is believe that when one stands up from the second sajda, one should wait for a while in the sitting posture and should not directly rise from sajda to the straight posture, standing posture. Hanafis, on the other hand, believe that everyone should stand up straight directly from the sajda. There is no point in waiting in between. And this practice has been handed down to us from Hanafites as well as from Shafi'ites differently for generations. Now, the investigators have discovered that Hazrat Imam Shafi'i lived in a region where some of the elders who accepted Islam during the Hazrat's lifetime visited Medina at a time when Hazrat had grown old. And because of the influence of the poison which a Jewish woman had given her, administered to him, he he lost some energy or some of the